What is up, everyone? Hope you guys are all having yourself a beautiful Thursday night. I got a special guest with me, Mr. Jamal. Show some love down in the comment section. If you're watching us on the live, put hashtag live. If you're watching us on the replay, put hashtag replay down in the comment section. And really tonight, is gonna be an inspiring training. And the reason why I say that is because I know Jamal, your story is actually really powerful. Like I really want you to understand. I know you and I have spoke about it, but I think it's gonna give a lot of inspiration for a lot of people, and I want you to kind of break that down. I know when we first spoke about it, you kind of told me your story and everything, right? But I I I I think when people hear about it, to me, it's gonna give a sense of, oh, although this happened to Jamal, he still was able to pursue and push through that and become where he's at right now. As in, he still is able to now still grow his copywriting business, right? So I definitely think it's gonna be a powerful training, and I'm excited about this, man. How you feeling?
Come on, let's go. Yeah, man, very excited.
Yeah.
Like I love your energy and love everything that you're doing. So I'm very, very happy to like even be a part of this and to finally have a blueprint, but not only have a blueprint, but a guide, you know,
Mm,
because as simple as a lot of this stuff might appear to be, it's still the little nuances that could take you years to overcome. It's much better when you have a guide holding your hand. I mean,
mm,
imagine going through the Amazon jungle by yourself, you know?
I love it. I love it. Well, we're gonna be breaking that story down, man. I think again, I think it's coming from a place of understanding that, and I know we spoke about this too. I know that you said, like, Nick, I'm just looking for some form of blueprint to help me. And I think now that, although we're kind of getting things started right now, I think now you have a much clearer foundation of the end goal. And I think that to me is the biggest thing. That to me is the biggest, because right now, for those that don't know, as you guys can probably see from the title, Jamal has built his own Facebook group. So Jamal is an existing copywriter, right? He's worked with clients in the past, but now he's building his own community to now get the leads that he wants to work with, people that he wants to potentially work with, to now hear exactly what he can provide for him as a copywriter. He's now posting content inside his group. He's, connecting with people inside the groups. Now, of course, are some people not responding? For sure, that's all part of the game. But to me, though, I think it's understanding that we have foundations in place for this business to not even grow and to get more people and to connect with more people. And that to me is the biggest thing, right? So I'm excited about this. But break it down, Jamal. Kind of break down who exactly, Jamal's story, his journey, and break down exactly what you do, brother.
Well, yeah, so um husband, um, father of two, boy and a girl, 11 and 8. Been in actually my day job is federal law enforcement and been doing that for like 17 years. And really found the need to supplement my income, believe it or not. Um, and so looked to copywriting to do it. Um, did the normal thing, took a bunch of courses and learned a bunch of stuff, but didn't know how to get a client. I joined a mastermind, invested heavily in it, and it was great. It was fantastic actually. Got in contact with a lot of people and started having clients, and it was a great experience actually. Had one client for almost all of 2021. That year was a great year for me. I think I had as many as four clients at one time, and man, I loved it. But the one thing that I didn't think about, because I was so absorbed in working for these people, was when they fall off. You know,
Mm,
like I'm think about it. I'm in a job for all these years. I'm married for a number of years. When I get into things, I'm in it and I don't expect it to end. But I think the thing that I didn't realize about freelancing is it ends and it may not always be 100% your fault. And what do you have to replace that? And
Mm,
so, yeah, once the clients fell off, it was like, what the hell do I do? And to tell you the truth, I almost gave up on copywriting altogether because I was like, man, this thing is like so upsetting, you know? I didn't know though that you needed to have a predictable blueprint, as you said, for replacing clients that leave. So when I connected with you and you described your plan, I was like, oh my God, this is a plan. It makes perfect sense. And I had tried other things. I had tried like picking up the phone, cold calling and stuff like that, which is good. But from my particular situation, it was too time consuming.
mm,
So, the blueprint that you have is something that I can apply and wrap around my daily life, begin to build credibility again, and then start to create a pipeline of clients, potential clients, and like you say in that, a wait list of people that know, like, and trust you. And so you're not living in that feast or famine cycle, which so many freelancers are quietly terrified about, you know?
yeah, 1000%. I think it's understanding that as you grow a freelance copywriting business, and this is just part of the game. Like I hate to say it, but sometimes you will just have clients that'll be like, hey, they kind of just fall off, which is part of the game. Right. I wish it didn't happen, but sometimes this just happens when you're growing something big. Naturally, things like that will happen. But it's coming from a place of how can I have an emergency intact for me in case that ever happens? And I think as we're now building the foundation, because we've been growing the group for 30 days, right? Like you're now slowly planting the seeds for this group, right? And we're at like 15 members so far. And
Yep.
and I think that right there, right? Although for some people they're like, oh my God, like that's not a lot, that's like 1,000 people, that's not like 1,000 people. The thing is, Jamal is now at a place where he has 15 people that now notice him. Think about that. 15 people that now notice him. And as you're now building the trust, you're now creating valuable content inside your community, what it's going to do is it's going to build the authority is going to build the trust as we're now booking calls in case if somebody ever comes away. Let's say, for example, you get a client from your Facebook group as you're building it out. The thing about it is, as we're now continuing to just grow the group, grow the group, grow the group, if you ever wanted to, you now have your own personal asset of people that you can now communicate with inside your community. And you can also have build your own wait list of people, telling people, hey, right now I'm currently doing a wait list for all the clients, for all my clients. If you'd like to be on the wait list, just let me know. I can put you on the wait list. You fill that chart up, you now have a wait list of people. And I think that right there is one of the biggest things that I see that is missing with a lot of copywriting businesses, where especially specifically freelance copywriting businesses, where they have the skill set, they have the passion, they have the dedication, the commitment, all these things. But it's what happens if you ever lose that client? What happens if the client's like, man, you're too expensive. I don't think I could deal with this anymore. Or what if the client goes, right now I just found, God forbid this happens. Client goes, I found a copywriter who's a little bit better. I'm going to work with that individual. What happens then? Your income stops like that. And you're just like, holy shit, what's next? What do I do? And it's not a good place to be in. And this is why, again, you want to have something in the back end in case if something like that ever happens. And that's ultimately what the group does. Right. So yeah, man, again, like that's a powerful story. And I think even when we first connected as well, because I remember you told me this, I was like, holy smokes. Right. Like I remember you had mentioned as well, like, you had the clients, and after that, that happened, you're just like, yo, you were, trying to cold call, doing a bunch of things as well. And I remember you had mentioned too, like cold calling wasn't something that was ideal for you. Yeah, I remember you had mentioned
No,
that.
no, it
Yeah.
wasn't. It wasn't. I had to like learn how to do it. And it was brutal, man. Like, because I was one of my game plans was to reach out to dental practices, and let me tell you, the people who pick up the phones at dental offices are like ninjas. on
Hmm.
cold calls, you know. So even just and then the logistics of it too for me were you know, trying to talk to the dentist at a time of the day when he's doing dentist, he or she is doing dentist things, it just wasn't gonna work, you know?
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I kind of felt around in the dark for a while and almost gave up, like I said, almost gave up on this completely. But then I remembered, you know, I don't know if this is some kind of like bias, like a psychological bias that we have, but I was like, listen, I have poured so much into this,
Yeah.
I might as well give it a redouble my efforts and really give it 100%.
Hmm.
And one thing I want to thank you for publicly is for your persistence, because when you first reached out to me, you know, I was still in a dark place, did not really want to hear about copywriting, but I still love it, you know, like in my heart, I really love it. And you just kept nurturing me with your messages. You know, I don't know if I saw the content really, but the follow up in the DMs, beautiful. I'm pretty sure we're going to get to that at some point, but I just
Yeah.
really appreciated that. And then seeing your videos, seeing your training, seeing your lives, and it really made me think, you know, let's give it another go. And so, yeah, I came through. Like I said, you showed me the game plan, and it made so much sense because you know how much easier is it to pick from a pool of people who, because you know, a lot of times when you reach out to people, especially when you're cold outreaching, they're gonna be like, "Well, I'm not interested." Even if they are interested, the first knee jerk answer is gonna be, "Oh, I'm not interested." That's fine. You don't have to be interested. Just come check out my
Sure.
group. It's free. We talk about copywriting things, you know? And if it's really that boring to you, you could leave, but more than likely you're going to stay, right?
Yeah.
And over time, as you're exposed to people, as you build a relationship with them, they come around and they become interested. So you don't have
Hmm.
to, you know, I mean, you don't necessarily have to be as aggressive as you would have to be on the phone,
Yeah.
and you can still, you know, build. And the thing about it that I'm anticipating as well is you be able to get them in
Mm.
at a higher price point, which is kind of, you know, we're all in this to
1000%.
take care of ourselves as handsomely as we can. So yeah, man, they're exposed to your stuff. They're loving what you're doing, what you're saying. They feel like they know you. Of course, I want to work with you, and I believe in you, so I'm going to go all in on you.
I love that. And I think one thing that I even want to point out as well, where you talked about the persistence, right? In the inbox. And I do remember when we first connected. This was so for those of you that don't know, I connected with Jamal. So Jamal, you originally joined my Facebook group. It was back in like June, July, or August, right? And at the time, I
Yeah.
was like, hey, hey Jamal, what's going on? Building relation with him. Like, hey, let's jump on a call. He's like, right now I'm not good. Right? He's like, right now I'm good for right now. I'm like, cool, no stress, brother. You know, and and ultimately, again, this goes back to you when you're building your own group. And the reason why I like this story that we have is because you're now doing the same exact thing that I did to now grow my own business. Now you're implementing it for you, so you can actually see the result of what happens when you stay consistent. You just keep showing up. So Jamal was like, right now I'm good for right now. I was like, cool. And for me, I was like, I'm just gonna keep posting content, continue trying to connect with more people on these things. Fast forward, 6, 7 months later, I connect with Jamal, right? I think he saw one of my posts and I saw he liked it. I was like, oh, this is a great time to connect with him. Connected with him. Then after that, we went on a call together, him and I built a relationship and all these things as well. And then he was like, I like the process, and then XYZ happened. So the way we can now flip it for your end, it's like, although sometimes, and this is happening, I know this is currently happening right now, and we could talk about this. Like I love talking about what's going on right now, the authenticity, being like growing a Facebook group. It sounds easy to do, but it's not. But it's a matter of showing up though. But here's the thing. Although sometimes there will be people that will respond back to you, sometimes people that don't respond back to you, it doesn't matter. It's a matter of how valuable am I posting my content, how much people are consistently joining my new group, And how many people am I going to constantly just get people to get nurtured by me and build a relationship with me? Which is exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's interesting you say that
Yeah.
because I was doing some outreaches last night. Was it last night or yesterday afternoon? And I came across someone who said in her profile, "Oh, don't reach out. Um, don't as soon as you send the friend request, don't send me a link to your thing or whatever."
For sure.
And I was like, it's interesting because what she was asking for is exactly what you do or what you're
Mm,
training us to do, which is extend the invite, extend the invite, extend the invite. In the meantime, look at me. You can learn about me while you're thinking about it.
yeah.
You can learn about yeah, I got videos, I got text posts, I got shorter posts, and you can see who I am, and then you can make a decision. For those people who like to take
Mm,
time to make sure they make a good investment in anything they do, this gives us a place to actually do that consistently,
yes.
to show the consistency. And it's even I think it's even more directed than say a profile because based on algorithm and stuff, your post may not always come up all the time. Depends. I'm sure that I don't know, but I do feel like that happens. But in a
Mm,
group, you go to the group. You
mm,
get notified about what's going on in the group. You have a list of your groups on the side there, right? You can go in and in one afternoon of scrolling, you can just click, oh, I haven't seen this group in a while. And then you see all these posts that you miss. And you can just spend, I mean, that's happened to me. I'm sure it happened to
yeah.
everybody else. You absorb content quietly and in the background, and it's
Mm,
slowly working on you, you know? And that's what we're able to do. Like in your case, your videos and videos like these that I listen to slowly worked on me, especially at a time when I was coming back around. Not only that, I will point this out too. The fact that some of your lives went off and I couldn't find them was even more interesting because I was like, oh man, I missed that one. And I'm probably not going to hear what he had to say.
really?
So then my interest was piqued to watch the next one and make sure I caught it on time. So I don't know if that's something that you do on purpose, but it's very good because like what we do as copywriters, we are capturing interest and then piquing that interest and trying to bring the people in closer. And that thing really that you did or that you do really worked.
I don't do
So
that, but I have no idea. I have no idea that was even happening.
yeah.
That's so
At least
funny.
maybe I'm missing something, but the
Yeah,
fact that I could not just go watch it later made
yeah,
me think. Let me catch with it because I like what he's
I
saying. So
gotcha.
let me see, catch it live the next time.
Ah,
So yeah,
do you
man,
mean when I'm
like
doing the replay post? Sorry for cutting you off. Do you mean like the replay post?
so right, well, right. Because people would have to
Mm,
ask you for the replay in order to get the replay.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
no, there's no one place where it's available,
Mm,
And
mm-hmm.
for a long time, I didn't have Facebook on my phone, so everything was through Messenger and so on and so forth. So, but needless to say, it's we create a place where we can just hold court, or as you say, we're the host of the party,
Mm,
and we're just constantly giving. And that's another beauty of it too, is the ability to just give and just show people, look, I mean, I got all this stuff to share, and I would love to have an opportunity to work with you and share even more.
yeah. And it's funny because I love the fact that you talk about this concept of giving. Like I talk to a lot of people. I talk to a lot of copywriters, and one of the biggest things I hear is, "Oh, I don't want to give all my free information away, or I don't want to give all the, my copywriting secrets away, right? I don't want them to know." But I mean, you can put your 2 cents into this as well. The thing that I've realized is that you can give all the information away, but understand people are not paying for information. What are people paying for? People are paying for accountability. People are paying for if I invest into you, will you be able to produce the results that you say that you're saying inside your content? So for example, for your Facebook group now, because like you're giving a ton of value, right? Like for those of you that aren't inside Jamal's Facebook group, I wish I could kind of I'll put the link inside the comment section right after, for those of you that want to join to just see exactly how he's doing it. But Jamal is doing like, motivational videos. He's doing copywriting tips. Like he's building a real community, building a real group. And with the content that he's doing, he's giving tips away. Now you could think, oh my gosh, Jamal, why are you giving all the way the tips? Because the business owners are now joining the groups. What that is doing is they're like, holy smokes, I did not know anything about that. And it's not only building trust, but it's getting them to understand that he's somebody that knows exactly what he's talking about. He's knowledgeable in what he does. And although the business owner, you could say the business owner is probably going to try to apply that himself. For sure, he probably can, but the business owner is still going to get stuck. This is why they're looking at Jamal and be like, okay, you're giving all this information away for free. Can you implement that inside my business? And that's why we want to give and over deliver on your free content and over deliver with free value. Because at the end of the day, people aren't, information is cheap. Like you can get all the information, copywriting tips. Business owners can go on YouTube, business owners can go on Google, business owners can go on Reddit, they can go on Amazon, they can read a ton of copywriting books, but they're still not going to get results. Why? Because they need somebody who's actually skilled, they can actually do it and can actually implement it. And that's the thing that they really care about. Like, for example, for example, the content I give in my group, I give everything away for free. I say this in all my lives. Why? Because at the end of the day, I know that I'm only giving there's a much more macro piece to it than all the information. People need help implementing it, making sure they're building out the Facebook correctly. They understand exactly how to reach out to people. What happens if the prospect doesn't say XYZ? What happens if a prospect says XYZ? What's the next step? There's a lot more elements that go to it, right? So that's just my 2 cents. I wanted to let everybody understand. Give everything away for free, please, because that's how you build credibility and understand. People don't really care about your free information. People just want to care about, cool, I like the value that you give. Can you help me to actually implement that? Or as a copywriter, can you implement that inside my business and write the copy for me? That's the thing that these business owners care about. But I want to hear your 2 cents with that, though.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, man. I think, business owners, I think what they really want, they want you to be competent. They want you to submit whatever work you have to do for them on time, and they just want you to be a generally decent person, because they
Mm,
have to deal with you, they have to partner up with you. But on top of all of that, on top of all of the copywriting tips and tricks and strategies and headlines and big ideas and all that stuff, what they really want is your passion, is your commitment. They want to see your ingenuity. They want to see your unique creativity. You cannot you cannot really find that anywhere. I can't find Nick Thorpe's brand of creativity, of big thinking, of passion, desire, the risk taking ability. I can't find that without talking to Nick. He could tell me everything that he does, how he does it, who he does it for, who he's done it for, how much he's made. But if I can't do anything with that until I interface with him.
mm,
And it's the same thing for us. Each and every one of us who have decided to go down this path, we bring our own life experiences, our own passions, our own desires, our own unique perspectives. And as much as we give away a lot of content or a lot of information or a lot of tips, you can't get that anywhere else. You can't get what each one of us has to give except by coming to us. So,
yeah,
and that's what I really truly believe business owners are looking for. They're looking for someone who is at least close to their level of passion and dedication. Can you imagine, like, you come across a copywriter that just comes out the gate like, man, I love what you're doing, Nick. Oh my God, I think we could do so many big things with this. How about this? Have you thought about this angle? Have you thought about this? Hey, listen, how about you run ads on this platform, on that platform? Hey, I think we could come at it. And I'm just fire hose of ideas. I mean, you're going to be blown away because you're gonna be like, wow, man, I got to corral this energy a little bit,
Yeah.
but I can work with that.
Mm,
I can't work with tips and tricks. I could, you know
exactly.
what I mean? I mean,
Exactly.
I could do something, maybe, but I really am looking for someone to run with me. I think that's why we have relationships. I think that's why we have partnerships. I think back to when I was a kid and my mother used to make sandwiches for me. She would make the same bread, lettuce, tomato, cheese, ham. I know all the ingredients.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
watched her make it, but for some reason, when she makes it, it tastes
It's
10
better.
times better than when I make it. I don't know.
I know exactly what you mean. I know
And it's the
exactly
same
what
thing
you mean.
for us.
Yeah. No, that is a really good analogy. Wow. Wow. My mom, she used to when I was younger, I love bacon egg. I still love bacon, egg, and cheese to this day. And she would make a bacon, egg, and cheese on a bagel for me before I used to go to when I used to go to elementary school every single morning. And I do not know why, but I knew exactly what was needed in that bacon, egg, and cheese. Bacon, eggs, and cheese. And apparently, her bacon, egg, and cheese was 10 times better than mine. I don't know how she did it, but again,
I still don't know.
it's that was such a good analogy. And it just goes back to, again, you can look at it, understand the information, but it's how you implement it. That's the thing
Yeah,
that really matters.
yeah,
That is the
that's the
thing that
thing.
matters. I love
It
that. I
is.
love
It
that.
really is.
I love that. And I know as well, like I know we kind of been building out the foundations of the group, and we've been doing even like a lot of one-on-one calls too. Talk a little bit more about that. Like, have you felt like that's been something that's been helping you out to now building the foundation? Like, I know our relationship has grown a lot since the one-on-one calls. From when you first joined the program, we talk like every single week, or if not, probably every other day, just messaging you, connecting with you. But break down about the one-on-one calls, as well. Do you feel like that's been really helping you, and specifically with the program and the process as well?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. It's like I said at the beginning about the guide and the Amazon, um, it's really key, especially when starting this whole thing out, is to just have someone there to be like, listen, this is the path.
Yeah,
It works. I know it looks crazy right now, but trust me, we're gonna get there. You just
for
follow my
sure.
steps, and the beautiful thing is you don't leave us to kind of, you don't say, okay, here you go,
Mm.
career in a box, freelance career in a box. All right, that's it. Just
Yeah.
call me. No, you're like, hey, how's it going? You check in with us multiple times in a day. If I have to leave a voice note because I'm coming across something, and it's funny because when I think back on some of the questions that I ask you, I say to myself, I probably could have answered that, but it's the fact that I have someone else to bounce that off of, and someone who
Mm.
is ahead of me in this journey to say, yeah, I know you're feeling like that. I get it. I felt the same way too. Trust me, just stick to the script. This is how we do it. And then, the one-on-one time is good to sort of iron out kinks, to say, hey, I'm not so sure about this, or what do you think about that? And to get that reassurance or that redirect or whatever. So they're really good. And I mean, I'm sure at some point I'll get to where I may not need that much interaction, but it's good to know that it's there
Mm.
consistently.
For sure, for sure. Again, I ain't going anywhere. I am not going anywhere. So, so that's one thing. But no, I 100% agree. And I even remember too, before, I remember you were like, like I would say like against the coaching, but you were like, man, I think I could figure this thing out on my own before. And I kind of want to talk about that. Like, what was kind of like the mindset shift that you had where you're like, oh, like I feel like this can actually help me out.
So, I probably was just drained, you know.
Mm,
And maybe people watching can identify, like, you know, you have this course. Like I said, I paid for courses, masterminds,
yeah.
and still ended up in a territory that no one really, or that I felt I wasn't really prepared for. Um, and I'm not gonna blame anything, because you know a course and a mastermind or whatever you do is what you make of it. It really is. Just
Mm,
like even in this program, it's what you make of it.
mhm,
But I was just thinking, you know, I've done all these things and I still got blindsided by something that I didn't know how to deal with. But then I remembered the fact that I had a cycling coach a few years ago, and I mean, I feel I'm pretty convinced at this point that he added like 10 years of cycling ability and knowledge to me
mm,
in just like
mm,
2 years, you know? And I remember that experience of working with him and just the confidence that it gave me to
yeah.
know I could go for miles by myself on my bike and not worry about getting stranded, not worry about any little thing, to the point where I was teaching other people how to, you know, maintain their bikes and ride for long distances and stuff. And I was like, that's how these things are supposed to be. And in fact, I even thought, you know, I probably could have gone around this whole thing if I had gotten a coach from the very beginning.
Mm,
Because coaches, maybe coaches more so than mentors, you know, those people help you fast track your learning, you know, and your skill acquirement. You know what I mean? Even if you think about way, way, way back in history, where you had like the blacksmiths and all these people,
yeah.
the way you learned is you were an apprentice. You know, you learned under somebody who was a master at something, and
Mhm,
that's how you got better, and that's how you got those skills fast.
mhm.
And so then I remembered all of that, and I was like, you know what, man, Nick has it. He is where I want to be. He's been where I want to be. He not, because it's one, like we just were saying about knowing stuff. It's one thing to know, and it's another thing to do, and it's another thing to get results from the doing.
Mm,
Because knowing is the one thing, the doing is the other thing, and then the refining what you do to get good at it is the next step. And a
mhm.
coach gives you that. So I was like, you know what, man? I'm just gonna submit myself to someone who knows, and we're gonna work with that. And I'm not going to worry
Love it.
about past decisions. The
Mhm.
past is in the past. You
I
know,
love that.
just because I made or had some short, or whatever you might call that. I don't want to call it failures, but you had some moments in the past that you weren't happy about doesn't mean that it's going to continue.
Mhm. I love that. I love that. And I'm telling you, I think for a lot of people, and even for myself as well, like when I first started, I was like, no, I don't need a coach. You know, I think I could figure this out on my own. But I think it's coming from a place of understanding that you don't know what you don't know. I'm gonna say that one more time. You don't know what you don't know. And the thing that you don't know could be that one thing that's that next level for you to get to where you're trying to get to. That right there is the thing. And that was one of the biggest things that I realized because I remember my first coach told me this. My first copywriting coach. I tell this story a lot, so I probably told the story plenty of times to everybody in the group. But my first coach was like, Nick, my copywriting services for my coaching services are $5,000 USD for a one-time payment. I had $5,500 in my bank account. And I was like, man, I think I could figure this out on my own. That's a ton of money that I don't have. And this was the only thing that I was doing full time. He then goes, Nick, I totally get that, right? You can do whatever route you can go, it doesn't matter. But understand, you can either pay with time, potentially waste weeks, months, if not years trying to figure this thing out, or money, understanding that although it's a scary investment right now, you can always make that money back, but you never get your time back. And I was like, holy shit, he's right. He's right. He's right. And after that, I was just thinking, I was like, man, like I've been trying to figure this thing out for the past 4 months. right? Like I was going on Upwork, I was going on Instagram, I was going on a bunch of platforms trying to grow my copy. I made total of $6 my first 4 months as a full-time copywriter, doing it full time. And I wanted to give up, honestly. And I was like, man, this guy, like you just said, this guy has exactly what I want. I want to get to where he's at, and he knows things that I don't know. And the things that I don't know could be the number one thing that's holding me back right now from getting to where I really want to go, which is that extra income coming in for me. So it's a mindset shift, and I find, it's really just a mindset shift of just understanding that there's just things that we all don't know. Like for me, from when I was a copywriter to even now, as I grow my own coaching business, I have mentors of mine that I look because they know things that I don't know. They could tell me blind spots that I'm not aware of, and that to me is there's no, not no amount of money beats that. Where you have somebody just guiding you, but telling you, "Hey, Jamal, hey Nick, do this instead of doing this. This is gonna help you because you're gonna do this." Nothing beats that. And I've come to that realization. That's been a cycle for me. And do you feel the same way as well? Like whether like that's our one-on-one calls or anything as well?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, you're right. There's nothing more frustrating than the question in your head that you can't answer.
Yeah.
And to have someone to answer those questions. I mean, if you think about it, if you have a question now, where do we go? We go to Google, we go to YouTube, we go to Chat GPT, we go wherever. But how much better is it to have another person that not only is just another person, but another person with experience and had
Mm,
that same question and got that answer and can give it to you and save you that time so that you can go ahead and take action? Because I don't know about you, but there's a certain relief in taking action, any kind of action, even if it's the wrong
hmm.
action. There's a relief in that. The the
For
the
sure.
real frustration or the anxiety comes from not knowing what to do.
Yeah.
So when I have a one-on-one call and okay, like I've had challenges with the DMs, like, and you were just giving me that clarity, like, yep, it's like that. Like, oh, when I DM people,
Yeah, yeah.
they're gonna try to like, reverse
Part of the
pitch
game.
me or something like that. And I'm like, I didn't say this in the course. So how do I, And you
Yeah,
just tell
yeah.
me, yeah, no, that's part of the game. That's how they do it. Just move on. And it's like, whew, it's a relief,
Yeah.
you know?
And I like the fact as well, like, you can take a ton of courses. That's perfectly fine, but I think it's understanding what exactly is going to happen when the information isn't stated inside the course. Like you just said as well. Like for example, for me, like let's say if I just had a course and there was no coaching, and I was just like, hey, just DM people, invite people, right? There's gonna be some people, and this is just part of the game of growing a business. You're gonna get some people that's gonna try to pitch you your services, which is natural, right? That's part of the DM game. But let's say if I just had a course and I didn't have any coaching element to it, you know, maybe, you would have been like, oh my gosh, I don't know exactly what to do. Like, maybe, some people have gotten like anxious. What's the next steps? But I think that's the element of what the coaching does, where it's like and especially since we have that personal collection, and even with just everybody that I work with, we all have these personal collections. Like, for example, if you can't even communicate with me, you have Tyler, who's there, right? You have people inside the community inside there with you as well. If I'm not even there, maybe I'm on a call with somebody, maybe I'm on, I'm doing something, I'm trying to do something inside the biz, whatever the case may be. You still have other people as well that are there to coach you and support you. And that to me is the key to everything, where you have some form of guidance, right? And I really want to back up and go to the DMs too, because I know that's been I say this line to everybody inside the program. The DM game, and especially for a lot of the copywriters I've seen that I work with, right, that are inside the program, the DM game is probably one of the challenging pieces that everybody's just trying to master, right? And we could talk about this as well, but I think one of the biggest things though is that, although it's a challenge, at the same time though, once you understand and master it, because it's a new language for everybody. The DM game is a new language for everybody because as copywriters, naturally we're born to write really good content. So posting content on your Facebook group, posting content on your profile, whatever the case may be, that's come so easy. But connecting with somebody to the DMs, that's a whole new language. So I kind of want to hear even your journey as well and talk about it. Talk about the challenges, talk about everything. Because I think this is going to inspire a lot of people, letting people know that although it sounds easy to grow a group, it's not that easy to have a conversation with somebody. Understand that there's going to be people that won't respond back to you, which is part of the game. I trust me. Tyler and I, right? So for those of you that don't know Tyler, Tyler's my DM setter. Tyler and I and Bartek, Bartek's my call setter. We have these team meetings every single morning at 9 o'clock. And we're always talking about the DMs and hey, this person didn't respond back, or we got to follow up with this person. All of that is part of the game, right? But I want to hear though, um, your insights though with the DMs, like understanding that you have to do the follow-ups, like you have to do these things. No, that sometimes people just won't respond back, and that's perfectly fine. But I want to hear those things though from you.
Yeah, well, it's funny because as you were
Yeah.
talking, I was remembering this one person I reached out to. I reached out to them, right?
Mhm.
Invited them to the group. Not only did the person not respond, but then later sent me an invite to their group and even gave me like a preview to their group and stuff like. And I'm like, bro, like,
Yeah.
what kind of communication is that? You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So things like that do happen. I'm pretty sure I haven't seen it all. Then you
Mhm.
have the people who you reach out to. They say, "Oh, wow, man, thanks. Yeah, I'm gonna come check it out." And they don't. You know,
Part of the game.
I think we were talking before the call about how I was following up with one person who said, they expressed interest. Yeah, send me the link. Da da da. Oh, it's not right now. And so a lot of that. Now, on top of that, um, getting the volume of up, because
Hmm.
I guess you could go through and just fire off to people, but
For
A,
sure.
that's probably not something that the system is going to appreciate, and B, you may start bringing in people that are nowhere near what you're looking for, you know?
For sure.
So it's being able to quickly identify the right people to reach out to, and then being able to just kind of just go through it and handle any curveballs that you get, you know,
Hmm.
in which that, there are definitely curveballs because, you know, people might say, "Oh yeah, oh great, I like your stuff." They kind of, nice guy you a little bit. "Oh, I like your stuff." "Oh, not right now, I don't know anybody," stuff like that. And so it's also knowing how to let your personality come through in your messaging, because if
Hmm.
you think about it, that's the first interaction that they get. And also, which is something that you equip us with, is having the right words to say. Because I think one thing that's really important that I learned along my journey is in sales, you want to have scripts, you know, because a script allows you to be efficient and it allows you to be professional.
Hmm.
So we have scripts of what to say and at what juncture to say it, and it allows us to be efficient. It allows us to
1,000%.
respond properly, right? And once you master that, then you can kind of throw your own little creativity in there
For
based on your
sure.
experience. And so that's really where I'm at with it. One of the biggest challenges I'm having, like I said, was just getting more DMs out in a day. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
working and doing other things.
for sure.
So,
I even want to
figuring
bring
out,
that up. I want to bring that up
yeah.
too. When you're done, though, when you're done, I want to bring that up. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. So just figuring out how to get better and faster. And the only way is just going to come from doing it more and more and more,
for sure.
and having fun with it too.
Yeah, yeah. I know we even talked about that. I think business, it can get it can get emotional. I say it can get emotional, but
Oh, trust
it's
me.
a growing a business is it to me is a mental game. It's a mental game. Like I view myself as an athlete as I grow my own business. And it's the same exact thing, same exact viewpoint even when I was a copywriter. I view myself as an athlete. As athletes, like for example, like let's look at like Michael Jordan, for example. If Michael Jordan is getting so frustrated, emotional, oh my God, it's gonna produce a negative side of energy for him. It may not be able to allow him to perform really well and be able to perform at his highest peak. But he's coming if he has a maybe let's think of Kobe actually, because Kobe has a different mentality. If Kobe's coming from a place of like he's frustrated, he's angry in the game, he's not going to perform at his highest peak. But if Kobe's coming from a place like I'm calm, I know things are, I have to be calm, I have to be make sure my energy is good, right? He's mellow, he's calm, he's relaxed. He's going to perform 10 times better. And it's the same exact concept as you grow your own business. If you're coming from a place of like anger, frustration, you expect things to happen, things don't happen, which is all part of the game, don't get me wrong. But it's coming from a place of I just have to be patient. I just have to stay focused. I have to stay dialed in, and whatever happens, happens. I just have to have a positive attitude with it. And I know that's something that we spoke about, and I want to speak on that too. Man, there's so many things I want to talk about with you, Jamal. Even though we're still 46 minutes in, there's so many things I still want to talk about with you. But the first thing that I want to point out before we get into the conversation of feeling good and having a positive attitude with everything, talk about the fact that you're you're a full-time father, you're a full-time husband, you have a full-time job, yet you're still in the process of building this copyrighted business. Like for everybody who's like, oh man, I don't have the time to do this, or man, I have a family, I have kids. This guy right here has four tasks. He's a full-time father, right? You have two or three kids.
Two,
Two
two.
kids. He has two kids, right? You're driving your kids to elementary school. You're driving your kid. There, some are, I think one is in elementary school. Is that right? Or middle school?
They both are, but one's going to be going to seventh grade next year. So,
Exactly. Like he's driving his kids to school. He has a full-time job. He's a full-time husband. He's trying to grow like he has a lot on his plate. Yet he still finds the time, even though it might be a limited amount of time, right? Because I know like you with the invites, it's still a little bit difficult because you have these other things that you focus on. He still finds the time to still try to grow this. That to me, I have a ton of respect for you for that. Like I know I don't say this enough to you, but I have a ton of respect for you for that. Because there's so many people who kind of put this excuse like, oh man, like I don't have the time for this. I have this, I gotta do, I got this. But they don't focus on the on what's the thing that really matters. What's gonna be the thing that's gonna help my family, help my loved ones, and I want to be that individual to create the life for them. A lot of people don't focus on that, and I want to acknowledge you for that because, again,
thank you.
like, of course, it's that shit ain't easy, man. Like, I'm not a full-time father, right, or a full-time husband. I do this full time, so it's a different ball game because it's a little bit different because I could say like I do this full time, so this is all I do. But for you, like this is different, man. You do everything full time. So I want to really hear about that because that's me, man. I give all my respect to you, brother. I really do.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate that. It's not easy, man. It is not easy. But what I'll say is, I do this because of all the other things.
Mm,
Because I have kids, because I have a wife, because I have a job. I mean, I'm grateful for all those things. But I mean, personally, I believe, um, and this is just for me, as a man, we are supposed to go out and make the world be what we want it to be.
mm,
You know, you don't, I mean, no one has sympathy for the man who says, well, I can't get this because of this or of that, of that. We, especially now, live in a time where we have $1 million tool that we walk around with in our hands every day. We each individually, especially if we live in a first world country, have access to generating our own income if we so desire. Like the first year that I did freelancing and was really making money, I did 5 figures in my first year. I mean, I had always said like, yo, if I could just learn how to make an extra dollar online, I would be set. And I figured it out. And the thing about that though is it opened up my eyes like, yo, what else could I do if I keep going? So
Mm,
because I have a son that's looking at me,
mm.
because I have a daughter that's looking at me, because I have a wife who is looking at me too, right? She's looking at me because she's saying, how are you going to make sure that we have the life that we want? She may not say it with her words, but she's saying it, right?
Yeah, she's thinking it.
I
Yeah,
have to make this work. I have
you
to
have to.
do it. I have to find something. I have to find a way. No one's going to come up to me
Man,
and give me everything that I want.
you're
No one's
inspiring
going to
me. You're
come and put
inspiring me
my
right now, man. Honestly, you're inspiring me right now. You're getting me fired up right now, man. I love this. Continue
but it's
talking though.
true.
Continue talking.
I mean, it's true. Like, no one's gonna
Yeah,
say, "Hey, Nick, you want to send your kids to that really good school across town? Yeah, come on, let's do it." No,
yeah.
no one's gonna do that. You have to find a way, and it's not easy, man. But it's so much worth it because if you're ever able to meet that goal, or when you reach that goal, or when your kids see you and say years later, man, I saw you really plugging away at that thing that you were doing and it worked. Man, the feeling is like no other,
Mm,
you know?
yeah. And I
So
think
yeah,
it's especially as men, I view in society as men, we're supposed to be the hunters in the family. Like we're supposed to be the individuals supposed to hunt, make sure the family is fed, right? Like for example, my dad works construction. My dad probably wakes up at 3 a.m., 3:30, 4 a.m. every single day. Give it so
God
much
bless.
respect to my dad.
God
10
bless.
like my respect for my dad, give it to him. And to me, I've realized just for as an entrepreneur, seeing that allowed me to paint a bigger vision. Where I'm like, holy shit, my dad's doing this for the family. I want to be able to do even more for what my dad, my mom, my grandma, and everybody does done for me. Because I've seen that. My dad's like hunting. He's like, man, I gotta do what I gotta do for the family. I gotta make sure my son is eating. I gotta do everything, right? So it's it's understanding what's your purpose. What are you doing this for? Right. And for
Yeah,
me,
for
my
sure.
goal is even though I don't have kids right now, I want to get to a stage where just like for example how you said, where your children are looking at you, they're like, "Man, dad, you did all this. I respect that. I want to get like that." That's essentially what I'm trying to do for my kids as well. Where they're looking at me like, Nicholas, you've been doing this for you were trying to grow your coaching business for the last 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8+ years, man. You've been grinding it out. I want to do that. Or you started off as a copywriter, then you became a coach, and then you grew the coach. Like and it like you said, it's a different type of feeling when that happens. Especially when you're doing it for your loved ones. It's a different type of feeling. So again, I want to give my respect for you, bro. I really do because I haven't reached the father yet, or the father level, or the husband level yet, but but I know when that does come, man, what you just said, I'm always gonna remember that. It's gonna inspire me to continue to push more. Because it's like you said, I'm doing this for I don't have kids right now. I'm doing this for that, for the future,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
you are.
So
Even though you don't realize it right now, you are
yeah,
because you're gonna create a certain level of freedom, a certain mentality, and you're gonna be able to give them access to opportunities that as hard as your parents have worked,
yeah,
they may not have been able to get you to that point yet, but you're now going to give your kids, their grandkids, a chance to look at something, possibilities that they may have wanted for you, but just couldn't get
for
there yet.
sure. Yeah,
And so, by what you're doing here, and I'm going to give you your flowers as well, because I mean, you're a young man, you know, doing what people twice your age are doing, and some are reluctant to do. And it is proof positive that if you put your mind to something, you don't have to let your doubts stop you.
Mm,
Or people might say, well, oh, I'm too young, or people say I'm too old, or people say I'm too this or I'm too that. And when we look at people that are doing it, like you, it reminds us, oh wait, just do it, man.
yeah.
Do it wrong and fail, and then do it again.
Mm, love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. Man, this is inspiring, bro. You're inspiring me right now. This is a very inspirational interview we're doing here. But yeah, and one thing that I also wanted to bring up too, because I know we kind of I was speaking about this too, about this concept of feeling good, right? I know,
Yeah,
yeah, man. So
powerful,
I
baby.
very powerful. So I know. So for those of you, just give a little bit of context right here, a little bit of context. So one time, this was a few weeks back. Jamal
Yeah,
asked
probably.
me a question about what exactly do I do when hard times happen. And I was telling him some challenges that I face uh, in my copywriting business, just a little bit. I didn't really have too much. I think if I think about my copywriting journey, it was more of me just persisting, even though I wasn't seeing the results instantly. I was still persisting. I think I've realize most of the challenges that I face and the character that I built came after building my own coaching business. I think
Hmm.
that's one of the biggest things that I realized because the thing is, like, there's been a lot of things that happened as I built my coaching, ton of things. I don't want to talk about it, but there has been a ton of things that happened. I think I gave you some examples that happened before, right? And one of the biggest things that my first mentor ever broke down to me, and I spoke about this as well in the group, is "Your wish is your command" by Kevin Trudeau. So a line that Kevin says in the podcast is that you always, always, always want to feel good and have a positive attitude, right? So essentially, what that means is if I talk about an experience that happened. So there was one experience that happened in my coaching business, right? And it's for a lot of people probably would have gave up. I'll be honest with you. A lot of people probably would have gave up in that situation. But when that happened, I was like, you know what? I can get frustrated about this, or I can just say, you know what? God has something bigger for me, and understand that, if I just get negative, frustrated, I'm probably gonna attract a lot more of those things to my life. But if I think about it in a different perspective, I'm like, man, things happen. So what? I'm just going to focus on my happiness. I'm going to focus on making sure I feel good. I'm going to continue to move forward. Because here's the thing, like, you can have two people, right, have the same exact situation happen. Like, for example, the situation that happened with me, where you have person A probably would have gave up, got frustrated, would have been stuck, mad, angry. And that anger probably would have resulted in them giving up. Or you can have the second person where they're like, "Man, this situation happened. It sucks in the moment, but I have control on how my emotions feel. And if I want to feel good about the situation, I'm going to focus on that. Because if I know I feel good, I'll be able to be happy and I'll continue to move forward." And I think as you're growing a business, whatever kind of business, coaching business, copywriting business, whatever kind of business, it's this concept of understanding that no matter what happens in your journey, if you feel good, have a positive attitude, naturally things will get better. Naturally, you'll grow. And I want to hear your insights with that as well, bro.
Yeah, man. Like, first of all, I mean, this we could probably talk another 2 or 3 hours on just this alone. Um,
Yeah.
but it's beautiful when you kind of pointed me in that direction. I was like, it was the first time that it was the first time that I had merged two areas of my life at a deeper level. And I
Mm,
was like, oh yeah, focus on feeling good, because when you feel good, it's almost as if everything around you, the color of things changes.
mm,
Like, I don't know if you ever seen those cartoons or whatever, where the main character is sad and like the scenery is gray and it's raining. And then as
yeah.
soon as they get happy again, it's sunshine and rainbows. And it's all based on your own mood and just focusing on, like you said, no matter if bad things happen or, bad things happen, just choosing the emotion in the moment,
Mm,
and the beauty of what you shared with me is it teaches us, especially us as copywriters and as service providers at large, which you're a service provider, that's what I am. It teaches us to be leaders
mm,
because think about it.
mm. Yeah.
That's what our clients want from us. They want us to be leaders
Yes.
because, like we said earlier, you could go get the information, you could go get the content, right? You get the tips and the tricks, but
Yeah.
we have to lead. How do we lead? How can we influence other people's emotions to get them to make purchases, right? For their good when we can't even control our own. And so
Mm,
then when you showed me that, I was like, oh yeah,
yeah.
concentrate on feeling good. Focus on
That's the
feeling
key.
good at all times. Focus on
Mm.
feeling good at all times. And I was like, yeah, and that made me feel good because I was like, oh yeah, let me just forget about what you're thinking about. Forget about all that stuff. You're still feeling bad because you're still thinking about it. When you focus on making sure, okay, this is not really great right now. I've sent out all these DMs, I'm not getting anything. I've invested all this money, I'm not seeing anything. I want to do this, but I can't seem to do it or whatever. Instead of focusing on that, focus on, but you know what, man? I had the ability to do all that stuff. I
Mm,
had the health to be able to do all that stuff.
yeah.
I got resourceful and I was able to find the resources to even have a stab at this. Like that
Hmm.
is a great feeling, you
Yeah.
know? And then you
Yeah.
start feeling good again. Like one more thing that it brought to mind is something that I had heard from somebody who was doing an interview and he said that he had stopped drinking. And what he found out was that he could make himself feel the same way he felt
Yeah.
when he was drinking without having to drink. Can you
That's
imagine that?
interesting. Very
Can you
interesting.
imagine like just being able to give yourself all the good feelings? And then we always like to think that we are subject to our feelings, but no, we make them. And every time I listen to that, because I listen to it multiple times, like 13 hours, man.
Yeah.
But I listen to it and listen to it and listen to it, and it reminds me like, no, no, you make it happen.
Yeah.
And that was a I'm really glad you shared it. And
Yeah.
yeah, like I said, I listen to it consistently.
I love it. I love it. I think when you come from a place of feeling good, you're beating 99% of the world. In my personal
Mm,
eyes. In my personal eyes. And the reason why I say that is because if you look at majority of people in today's world, man, majority of people have a screw face, sad face, upset face. But if you're coming from a place, man, I don't know what's gonna happen today, but I'm just excited, I'm happy, and you come from a place of feeling good, it allows you to become the version that you need to be to just conquer any challenge that happens to you. And that's my philosophy as no matter what business that I was in, whether it's copywriting business, my coach business now, my philosophy is if I feel good, I can conquer anything that happens to me. Because at the end of the day, the biggest thing that matters is that if you not only if you feel good, but if you feel grateful for how far you've come, that's the key to it all. Because when you come from a place of gratitude, even though the DMs might be happening or hey, you post a piece of content, nobody likes and comment. But if you come from a place of man, I'm grateful for the fact I'm even able to freaking do this. I'm grateful that I can even send a fucking DM. I'm grateful that I can even post content and get people to see this stuff. Even though they may not be liking or commenting, I'm grateful that I'm able to do this. It's coming from a place of just gratitude. Because when you come from a place of I'm grateful for the things that I have, it changes your perception of what the fuck is going around you. And excuse my language, everyone. I'm getting fired up right now. I have family watching, so I apologize. But it's the truth, though. It's the truth. It allows you to change your perception on what the hell is going around you. It changes your environment, the perception, the way you perceive certain things. It changes that because once you can flip the way you view certain things in terms of what's going around you. You know, things might be going terrible. If you come from a place, I'm grateful for this, it's the best solution to everything. The best solution you can have.
Yeah,
That's
man.
why, yeah, you're gonna say?
Oh no, no, I was just gonna say that it's infectious too. People feel it and it gets them fired up too.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I'm telling you, gratitude is really to me the number one, like the secret to building anything is number one, being grateful, feeling good, and just showing up and being patient. That's what the biggest focus is, and that's one of the biggest keys that I've realized, even as I built my own, Facebook group as well. Like, if we think about it, man, like when I first started my group, all right, I've yeah, first starting a group to now, I've dealt with tons of challenges, the same probably same thoughts that you had, "Man, I'm posting the content, nobody's liking, I'm sending these DMs, what's going on?" I've dealt with and that's why I'm able to give you the insights to help you to move forward.
Exactly.
But yeah, but at the same time though, I had to realize like I can get frustrated about the current situation. I could be like, "Man, things happened, but I'm able to eat. I have the basics in life. I have food, water, I can sleep, I have a home." A lot of people don't have that. There's a lot of people living on the streets. There's a lot of people that don't have a home right now. There's a lot of people that don't have water. A lot of people don't have food. And if you can change your perception on that of understanding that I have the basic things that I really need to survive in life, you'll make it. No matter what obstacle happens, you'll make it. You'll
Yeah,
make it. Trust me, you'll make it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it will, it will. And like things might just come out the blue and then just start happening. So just get ready for when the floodgates open,
Yeah.
because then you'll have other problems. So that's another thing too. Like what we're really, really working for are better problems. The problems never go away.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like we're trying to go from having the problems we're having
Yes.
now to having some like bigger problems.
Bigger
And it's,
problems.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's exciting and there's something else to be grateful for. Like the quality of your problems is like the level of gratitude that you can have. Like, you know what I mean? Like where we're at
Yeah.
now, we have this problem, but we can be grateful for this, this, and this. And then when we get to another
Yeah.
level, we can be, wow, we got a new problem. Oh man,
Yeah.
the guy, I keep telling him when at the Rolls dealer to listen, stop doing that to the leather. This is, out, whatever, right?
Yeah.
That's a problem,
Big
but it's
problem.
a very high level problem that we wish we had, or I did,
1000%.
you know?
You're as you're gonna say. I know you're gonna say
Oh
something.
no, oh yeah, no. So it's just like, we get to like do the things that we're doing right now. Like, oh, I got to send 30 DMs. No, you get to send 30 DMs to possibly 30 new friends or whatever, or maybe make one friend out of it that you
Yeah.
create a really solid working relationship with. You guys become friends, maybe you help each other make a lot of money and you advance a cause that you really believe in. Like,
Mm.
so it's just how we look at it. And it's not easy, man. Trust me, I have a lot of days where I'm just like, damn, but it's constantly listening to this stuff and reminding ourselves or reminding myself, like, yo, you got a lot to be thankful for, bro.
100%.
You know?
100%. And I think when you quantify the level of problems you have, it shows how much you've grown as a person. Like the problems that I'm facing right now, I wish I had this a year ago when Nick was first building out his Facebook group and starting his new
See,
business.
there you
I
go.
wish I had these problems. Like now, I have Tyler that's working with me. I have Bartek
Mm-hmm.
that's working with me. I got to make sure there's money coming into the business because if there's no money
Yep.
coming into the business, I can't play Tyler. I can't play Bartek. Like there's so many things now that I'm like, holy shit. Don't get me wrong. It's scary a little bit, but I'm just like, man, if I think about Nick a year ago when he was in the DMs by himself, when he was posting content by himself, when he was in his parents' house, just trying to figure this online coaching game out, trying to build his. if I think about that Nick to the Nick, that Nick would have been like, holy crap, I wish I had the problems that you're at right now. I wish
Yep.
I had the ability to now start building a team of people that are looking to now start helping people, right? Wish we had ability to start, having Tyler in the DMs. You got to pay him. You got payroll now. You got so many things that you got to do. But I that Nick would be appreciative of the problems that I have right now, and I can't wait till next year when I'm like I
Mm-hmm.
got bigger problems now. Probably have a bigger team. I have it's a lot, man, and even for
Yeah.
yourself as when you get to a stage, because the ultimate goal, right, which of course, like I say, it won't happen overnight, but the ultimate goal is to get to a stage where you're now at a stage where you now can start hiring copywriters, right? If you want to start hiring copywriters, right? Where you want to start building your wait list, right? You want to get to that stage where you can now start hiring people. I want to see that problem in the next year, right? To me, your growth lies in the problems that you face. If you're not facing new problems, you're not growing. You're not
Yeah.
growing. If you're not
Yeah,
facing new
that's
problems in
true.
life, you're not growing. And if you're not
That's true.
growing, you're dying. You're
Uh,
dying. If you think about
yeah.
it, think about a plant, for example. The plant, right? You got to water it. You got to make sure it's getting enough sunlight. You got to make sure that it's getting enough soil. And if you're not doing that, the plant's not gonna grow. It's gonna ultimately die if you're not doing that. But if you are doing that, you're giving them the right nutrients, you're giving them the right water, you're giving them the right sunlight, it's gonna grow and grow and grow. The same thing
Yeah.
is in terms of if our as humans as well. If you're not learning new different things, if you're not trying to expand your problems, and to a lot of people, they're like, "Oh man, I want to stay away from problems." Lean towards those problems, because on the opposite of that, that's where your growth lies.
Yeah.
Right?
It
So,
does. It does. It
yeah,
does. Yeah, the plant grows against the force of the earth, right? I mean, that's just the way it is, and it's a beautiful feeling. Because I mean, even if even where I'm at now in this whole journey is further ahead than I was a year ago, the year before that, or whatever. Because to even take on trying to do stuff like this, that's a challenge to begin with, and then once you get in the groove of that, so I mean, yeah, man. But yeah, I mean, the feeling good, going back to that is like it really helps with going through the disappointments
mm,
and stuff like that, and actually even getting over like internal blocks, like stuff
mm,
that you maybe stopping yourself from doing internally because you're afraid of rejection or you're afraid of you know, oh man, what if I don't write good copy or what if I don't help
yeah,
the feeling good is like, look, man, don't worry about it.
yeah,
Put a smile on your face, man.
for sure.
Feel good. Bring that energy. Bring that. One thing I learned, man, people in general, they will pay for a good attitude.
Mm,
Like they will pay to be around someone that lights them up. And yes, we have to get results. Yes, we have to be focused on the task and all this other stuff. But I personally think that clients, people that we want to work with, who are people, right? They really love being around good energy, which is where the feeling good thing comes in again, because
yeah,
they got to do that too, you know? So what do they say? Iron sharpens iron, steel sharpens steel,
yeah,
let's be that steel. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying?
for
And then
sure.
we go out there and sharpen our clients and their people.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's not
Exactly.
easy though. Not easy.
Not at all. Not at all. But the focus is just understanding that, if you're if you're looking at your problems and you're seeing that it's a lot bigger, to me, that means that you're growing.
Yeah,
So for
yeah.
everybody that's watching this right now, if you're like, man, I'm experiencing some crazy problems right now, good, good. That means
That's
you're growing.
good. That's
That
good.
is a
That's
good
good.
thing. That is a good thing. That means you're growing.
Yep.
I'd rather experience bigger problems where, for example, like, like this, like I think a couple of days ago, I had to lower my ad spend because of certain reasons. And even things are as well, like now I'm at a stage right now where, as I'm even growing my own team right now, like I have to now develop my leadership skills. Like before, I was more of a solopreneur, right? Like I was an entrepreneur, but more of a solopreneur trying to grow my thing. But now that I've hired Tyler, now I've hired Bartek, now I have to level up now as a real CEO. I have to level that up now because I have people, two individuals that are looking up to me, making sure that they're fed, making sure that money's coming to the business so they can feed their families and everything as well. And now I have to level up as an individual and think bigger. So, although it's scary to lean in, but I need to do
Yeah.
that because that's where the growth really lies.
Yep.
It's I'm telling you, man, it's an interesting thing, man. It's a very interesting thing. Very interesting thing.
Yes, sir.
Man, it's this has been a great interview. Very, very good interview so
Ah, I
far.
love it. I love it. Yeah, this has been great. I can talk about this stuff all day, man. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, man, for sure, for sure. And I guess my question to you, um, like if we were to like think about, when we first spoke, like on our call, and
Hmm.
I was like, "Hey, Jamal, the price of phase one and phase two, you're gonna get this, 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 and this, right?" And if we're to go back to that one, you're like, "Nick, I don't really want to do that. I don't think it's gonna be
Hmm.
helpful for me." Break it down. Like, where do you feel like you would be right now if you didn't take the action to join the program?
I would be in the desert,
Mm,
in the wilderness, in the jungle by myself. And I mean, I, I don't know if I would have given up, but it would be like super duper hard.
mm,
Because, you know, yeah, you could try to figure stuff out on your own. Absolutely. Listen, there's nothing that stops that. Um, you could take 100 years to figure it out on your own, you know, or you could take a year with someone who knows, or because the way I look at coaches and stuff, they represent like the distilled wisdom of hundreds of years of knowledge in one particular area. Why I don't have to live all those years to get that. It's already been lived. The information is already there. Someone can give it to me. That someone is you. And yes, the money that you have is important and you need it, right? Um, but if it can buy hundreds of years of experience, I mean, especially in the thing that you're trying to get good at, that's going to pay you back,
yeah.
then it's worth it, right? It's worth it.
Mm,
When I signed on with you, I bought hundreds of years. I mean, you might not even realize it either. Hundreds of years of experience because of people you learn from and the people that taught them and the people that taught them. And now you're teaching me. That's what I'm paying for. And
mm,
when you look at it like that, it's like, oh, well, it's a no brainer, you know?
mm,
Why be lost? Why struggle? Why? I mean, I've struggled enough. I've been struggling so much trying to do stuff on my own. I know what that looks like,
mhm.
and it hurts, man. So, like, I mean, it might have hurt to like say, all right, let's pony up, but I know it hurt even more trying to figure it out on my own and like
Mm,
getting some success, but not knowing why I got it and then not being able to replicate it.
mm, mhm, mhm. And that's actually a really good point that you brought up. I actually, if I look at all the invest, because I've invested to a ton of people before, I never thought of as if the way you kind of brought it down, where that person learned from that other person, who then learned that from that other person, then learn. You're getting 100 years worth of knowledge and experience. I never thought that's a really, really good point that you brought up. As well, and I 100% agree. Like, I can say like, yeah, you're supposed to get a coach, but people are gonna be like, Nick, you're a damn coach. Is it, that's so biased of you to say. But it's good hearing that though, because it's allowed me to reflect back and be like, holy shit, like you're right. If I look at all the coaches that I've been worked with, all their knowledge has helped me to shape me who I am. Right. And that's why for you guys, like I give all the knowledge that I've given, I give it to you guys because I want you guys to grow. Like the worst thing that I can do is have you join my program and you're the same exact individual that from when we first started in the biz, when we first spoke, 30, 60, 90 days later, you're the same. That I'm doing something extremely bad. And and let me ask you, Jamal, do you feel like since we first connected to the 30 days of where we're at right now, the relationship that we built, do you feel like you've grown somewhat?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, yes, definitely. Even in what we talked about so far today,
Mm,
um, even in feeling confident about where my business is going to go, because
mm,
now, like, I have a blueprint, and I know all I got to do is just do this and repeat it, repeat it, repeat it, and also it's something that can I can work with.
mm,
Other strategies I've tried in the past, I couldn't quite make it work,
yeah.
but this is one that I can see working. And so knowing that, right? I've been on Facebook for a long time and I know about groups, but I didn't know about this could actually help me get clients. So
Yeah.
I've grown in that knowledge. And I've grown also because I get to write consistently now again, and I'm excited about that. So I've grown in that way. And
Hmm.
then I have I used to make cold calls, but now I have to write cold DMs, which is slightly different. And it's slightly different to completely different, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And having to perfect that and grow with that. And like you said, new problems, right? So if you're not
New
growing, you're
problems.
dying, right? So
Exactly.
yeah, I've grown a lot in just 30 days. I can't believe it's been 30 days. It's felt a lot faster than that.
Yeah.
And yeah, the support that you give, um, the your willingness to always be, ready to respond. Keep us calm in those moments where we don't know what to do and be that guide. Like all that stuff, man, is amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. And I can see it only getting better as we continue because
Love it.
then there will be new things to deal with. Okay, I got this
Yeah.
client that needs this, this, and this. Well, what do you
Hmm.
know about, like just being able to bounce things off of you and tap things through and just continue to grow and it most importantly is given that confidence like, oh, all right, I finally got something that looks like I can really make work and someone to
Mm.
help with the nuances of things. So yeah, man, it's been a great 30 days, man.
I love it, man. I love it. Yeah, and again, I've seen the growth within you too. And again, it's powerful to see what's going to happen in the next year from now. Because again, right now what we're doing is we're building a small tiny seed, right? Like now you're in the groove now of writing content and messaging people. And I want to get your insights on this as well because I've actually cold called people, like because right now I'm currently running ads to my Facebook group to get people to join my group, and I have to cold call leads and everything as well, to like book them onto a call. I'm telling you, I'll take the DMs. I'll take the DMs any
Yeah,
day of the
man.
week.
Yep, yep, yep.
I want to hear though, like your like kind of like the difference between like the cold calling because you've done both. I want to hear like your experience with both.
So yeah, the difference is when you're calling, it's live. You have to have your tools ready to go right
Yeah,
away. And you have to actually kind of be prepared for what you're going to hear. So, largely you're going to hear, oh, I'm not interested, right? That doesn't mean they're not interested. That just is a knee jerk reaction. Like if you ever go to like
yeah, just
a
closed
car
off. Yeah,
dealership, yes, and
yeah,
the guy comes up to you and you're like, oh, no, I'm not, I'm just looking, right? Yeah, you're just looking. You just happen to wander off the street and make the right combination of accidental steps into this dealership to just look, But it's knowing how to respond to that and say, "Yep, I
yeah,
understand. You're just looking. Um, what are you driving right now?" The understanding of how to persist.
yeah,
But the difference with cold DMs is they could leave you on red and have every intention of responding, So now you have to, it gives you a lot more time to respond,
Yeah.
but you lose some of that nuance of communication, like spoken communication. Like you could, you could change the tone of your voice, you can make a joke and have it come off right. But in the DMs, it's all in the messaging.
Hmm.
So it's being able to sort of do that. The good thing though about DMs, especially Facebook messages, you can send videos and you can send audios.
Mm.
So, that's a way to kind of bridge the two. But yeah, I mean, calling, you got to be nimble and you got to be ready to respond. And you kind of have to know what they're going to say, honestly.
Yeah. 1,000%. And I think one thing too about the DMs, just the one thing that I've seen with cold calling like leads that I've called that are opting into my ads, and DMing, is that when you're DMing people, people are getting nurtured. But if you're
Yeah.
cold calling, people are not getting nurtured. It's like a one time you can talk to them. After that, you don't talk to them. You try
Yeah.
follow up with them and all these things, but they're not getting nurtured by you, as in
Yeah.
they're seeing your content. And I think that's even the beauty of the Facebook group, where even if somebody's not looking at your messages, again, like I know there's a ton of people inside my Facebook group right now that have messaged that have not responded to me. I know that. I know that.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But when I'm doing the content, like for example, this interview that we're doing right now, I see people that are still watching in the corners and the sidelines. I know that. And this is why it's so important that even what Emerson was talking about this in our coaching call, and I was kind of break down with him, the content and the messaging come hand in hand, because if the
Yeah.
person isn't answering, they're getting nurtured by my content. So it comes into both forces together.
Yeah.
Right? With cold calling, like you can't really do that, unless you cold call them and get them to a place where they're now inside a community, like a Facebook group, for example. But still, if you're just cold calling, just a cold, it's a little bit of a different ball game, a little bit different ball
Yeah.
game.
Yeah. You got to drop your hook in early on
Yeah,
the call. But
exactly.
with this, it's almost like they get to hook themselves because they're just watching you, listening to you, reading you. Oh,
Hmm.
let me put the hook in. No, go ahead. You can reel it up
Yeah.
now.
Exactly, exactly. And my last question to you is, brother, if there's somebody right now who's like on the fence of, booking a call, or just even joining the program as well,
Mhm.
what exactly would you say to that one person?
If you're on the fence, jump off the fence and jump into the program. Um, if you're even thinking about doing it, do it. You know,
Mm,
I had a high school math teacher that said, second thoughts are there to reinforce the first thoughts. And if your
mm,
first thought was to join, and that's what got you on the fence, and you're having second thoughts, it's because you need to join, right? You need help. You need a guide. As there's nothing great that anybody's done that they've done by themselves. Nothing. Like if you look in the history of all the people, great people that you read about, none of them did anything by themselves. And it's hard to find people that, you know, even if they want to support you, they may not know how to in the way that you need it. Well, here you have a group of people that know what you're going for and at some have been at some stage of the journey that you're on. You know, come be with us, join this master. This is our mastermind, right?
I
We
love it.
all our minds coming together, right?
Hmm.
And let that be the force that pushes you, that multiplies your efforts, that gives
Hmm.
you that confidence to know that you can get this. But
Hmm.
just come on in.
I love
The
that.
the money that you're holding on to is important. Um, but the possibilities of what you can get here rather than holding on to what you have, because holding on to what you have is going to keep you where you are. But let go of
Jeez.
that. Let go of that, and so you can grab onto something new
I love
and
that.
come here. I'm telling you, it's good. Copywriting, especially freelance copywriting, is not easy. And as much help as you can get, man, take it.
I love it. I love it. And I think one thing too that I want to point out before we end is like I think of course like as a coach, like my job of course is to give the support. But to me, I think the next element that I see a lot of people don't have is a community of other copywriters that are they're connecting with each other, supporting one another. And I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Do you feel like that has been helpful for you as well? Whether like, that's Ethan saying, giving insights, Keely, Amity, Sarah, Carrie, Rob, Emerson, I go down the list of everybody else. But do you think that has helped you?
Yeah, it has. It has because then, you're seeing other people that are also trying to do, or also doing rather, what you're doing.
Hmm.
And it's like being on a team, you guys go out and you play, but then you come back to the locker room and you discuss. Like that's what our private chat is. We
Yeah.
discuss our wins, what we got, what we didn't get, where we're stuck, and just being able to have that to bounce off of people that's doing the same thing is very valuable because I think back to when I'm just doing it on my own, or I mean, honestly, I haven't really ever done it on my own because the last time that I was
Mhm.
successful at doing this was in a group again, you
Mhm.
know? On my own, it was like dark, man.
Yeah.
It was like, oh my God, do I even want to do this anymore? But when you have other people and you see that, like, oh, the problem that you're having is common, it's like you're not some weirdo, oh, I'm trying to get my client to do this, but they won't. And
For
oh, I'm
sure.
having the same problem too. Then you don't feel like, you're on your own and you're doing something wrong. You're just part of the process.
Mm, I love that. I love that. And one thing too that I want to point out before we end because it was getting late. Um, I know as well. Like you've again, like have you connected with Tyler by the way? Like asking him
Yeah,
for like, do you feel
he
like
has sent
that's
me
been
some
helpful for
stuff.
you? Do you
Yeah,
think
100%.
Tyler like skill set. So to give a little bit of context, so for those of you that don't know, so Tyler is part of my team, um, and Tyler is my appointment setter. So for those of you that are messaging me, it's Tyler that you're messaging, right? So to give a little bit of clarity, and Tyler's actually skilled in messaging people, and one of the I think the beauties of I think in the program is having somebody who's actually skilled in messaging, actually giving advice and giving feedback to all the clients that we work with. Like, hey, say this inside the DMs instead of saying this. Because of course I'm in the inbox and I've been in the DMs, but I think it's Tyler has a certain next level of knowledge because he's actually gotten certified to actually message people in the inbox and the DMs. I guess it's another game. It's another game. So do you feel like that's been helpful for you as well as you're kind of going along in the process and in the program?
Yeah, yeah, it has been because as you know, like freelance copywriting is two words, right? It's freelancing and it's copywriting. You have to get
Yeah.
clients and then you have to write for them. And Tyler helps big time with that part of getting the people, I
Mm,
mean, I mean obviously you give us the scripts and your experience, which is vast. But here you have someone else that's added to the team. That's his livelihood. Obviously, the things that he's going to share is stuff that he uses to take care of his family, right? So he's going to
hmm.
give you like the best stuff. And so between what you give and what he gives as like a force multiplier, like it gives a lot of confidence. And the thing I take away from whatever advice that he gives is like you're doing the right things. You just need to keep at it.
Yeah.
You know, just keep at
1000%. Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Tyler's the man. Tyler's the man. Well, for those of you that I watched this, I really, really, really hope you guys got a lot of new insights because, man, I don't even remember the first thing that we spoke about, Jamal. We went everywhere, and I just had a feeling that this interview was going to be exactly that, where you talked about your story. We were kind of just breaking things down, and I love these kinds of conversations. Like I could talk about these kinds of conversations that we had for next 2 years. 200 years plus, honestly, man. But again, bro, I do appreciate you, brother. Like I said before, man, I give you all my respect. All my respect from you being a full-time father, you being a full-time husband. You're trying to go this busy. You got a full-time, like I give you my all my respect, man. All my respect. And
Yeah,
so,
thank you very
man,
much, man.
of course, and I'm excited for what's the next interview is going to be, whether that's the next, 30 days, next, you know, yeah, 60 days, whatever the case may be. But I think it's going to be powerful for everybody to see your evolution. And I'm excited when we land when we actually land that first paying client inside the group. Man, we're popping the champagne together, brother. We're popping the champagne together, man. But again, man, I appreciate you, brother. I view you as a real brother. I really do. I know we've had some real good conversations, just on our one-on-one calls, and I really view you as a real brother, brother. So yeah, so for those of you that are watching this right now, show some love down in the comment section. Jamal is somebody who should be an inspiration. He's inspired me in this conversation, and I hope he inspired you guys as well. But again, man, we'll chat. I know we have our one-on-one call tomorrow at 7 a.m. All right, so I'm
Hmm.
excited for that.
Yes,
So
yes, indeed.
yeah, and we'll talk about what we're going to be doing inside the group. Like for example, client interviews inside the group, like what we're doing right now in my community. So yeah, we'll be breaking some things down tomorrow.
All right, man. Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity to,
Yeah.
to share. And thank you to you for having the courage. I was thinking about it. I was driving home today, and I was like, "Yo, Nick is a remarkable individual, man. To be doing this at this level, at where you are in life, man, is amazing." And thank you very much for having the courage to push through, to be who you are. Big shout out to your parents and your family who poured a lot into you. You spoke about them in your story, and they did a fantastic job with you, man. So thank you.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that as always, man. You're a true inspiration, man, and I'm excited for what the future holds for the both of us. All right, guys. So enjoy your guys' night. I hope this inspired you guys, and Jamal will chat soon, brother.
Be
Peace.
well.
Bye bye.